We have something this month that is called Pessach Sheni. Okay, the second Pesach. What is Pessach Sheni? The 14th of Iyar is referred to as Pessach Sheni, literally the second Pesach. So what does it mean? When the Beit HaMikdash stood, all those who were unable to bring the Pesach sacrifice at the prescribed time on the 14th of Nisan were given a second opportunity to do so this date. The Torah in Bemidbar 9, 10, 11 states, speak to the children of Israel, saying, any man who is ritually impure because of contact with a corpse or who is distant, distant means it has like tzarat, you know, the disease that they needed to be separated from the camp. Yeah, they had to become pure first. In the second month of the 14th day in the evening, he shall bring it, and it shall be eaten with matzot and maror. So for those people who are not able to bring the Paschal sacrifice on the 14th of Nisan, they got a second chance, yeah, to do it on the 14th of Iyar. The 13th of Iyar is not a festival or holiday. However, the day during the period when the Beit HaMikdash stood was a time of rejoicing for those who fulfilled the obligation to bring the Pesach offering. Therefore, the date is considered to be somewhat special, and Tachanun is not recited. Okay, so first of all, there are some customs that people are keeping a little bit of matzah from Pesach, and they eat matzah and maror also on Pesach Sheni. It's a custom. You don't really have to do it if you don't want to. But it is sort of like we don't do Tachanun on a day like this. It's a bit special day, yeah. It's not really a Yom Tov, it's not really a Shabbat, but it's like a nice, good day for Israel. So for all other sacrifices which are to be brought on a specific time, if the time passes, the sacrifice cannot be offered anymore, yeah. Regarding the Pesach sacrifice, however, even though a time was specified for it to be brought, and the Torah twice emphasized that it is to be offered in its appointed time, if circumstances prevent the person from bringing it at the appointed time, the Torah provides him with a second time, the 14th of Iyar. Why was this special consideration given? Because the Pesach offering is unlike all other sacrifices. For all other obligatory sacrifices, public or private, there is no expressly stated punishment for failing to bring them. However, the punishment for failing to bring the Pesach sacrifice is most severe. What is the punishment? You know? Karet, yafeh, to be cut off from the people of Israel. And that's very, very, very bad. So that's why Hashem is giving us a second chance. Since the punishment for violation of this mitzvah is so severe, exclusion from the source of life, it follows that the reward for bringing it must also be exceedingly great, for the reward granted for the fulfillment of a mitzvah is far greater than the punishment for having violated it. Hence, one who marries to bring the Pesach sacrifice at the appointed time cleaves to the source of life amidst the people of Israel. So when Israel offered the first Pesach sacrifice in the second year after they left Egypt, there were among them some who had become ritually impure through contact with the corpse. They approached Moshe and Aaron and said, why should we be considered deficient and not offer the sacrifice to God on the appointed time with the rest of the people? They knew that they would not be punished, for their inability to bring the sacrifice was a result of circumstances beyond their control. However, they were concerned that they would not receive the great reward for bringing the sacrifice, for one who fulfills this obligation completely removes himself from any and every link to idolatry and becomes totally and eternally attached to and part of the children of Israel. You need to understand that karet means many things. To be cut off means many, many things. Cut off can be one of the deeper explanation of be cut off is literally being cutting off of Am Yisrael. Okay, like there is no continuation. So it's said, unfortunately, that that people who are not able to bring any children into the world anymore, yeah, they sort of like don't have a continuation. That's it. It's up to them. Why they go through this, I don't know. Every person gets through. If we would know exactly what happened with us before and why we're here and what we came to correct. Yes. Now there is also another explanation that the karet, it's actually completely destroying of the soul. There is no There is no sort of like correction for this soul anymore. That's the extreme explanation. I really like to believe the other explanation of being cutting off, at least from Israel, because that maybe there is a chance for that person to come back through conversion and other ways to do it. Okay, I'm not saying that this is the reason why we're doing this. There are many reasons there why we have to go through this, but also we came here to correct something. Yeah, our soul is yearning for something. Maybe we were in Mount Sinai. Maybe we had Jewish ancestries and we come back to correct that. Maybe, I don't know, we were Jewish before in a past life and we left this very, very fast without really wanting to do anything. Maybe we were, Has v'shalom, one of the children of the... We don't know. There's so many explanations for why a person comes to convert. Yes. Each person, I think, feels in their heart what's, a little bit why they're here, even if we look deeper enough. Yeah, and we have the guts to go there. Sometimes that's also something that is hard to do. But yes, the children of Israel sort of said to Moshe, okay, Beseda, we if a person is anus, it's called anus. If I'm in a position that I'm not able right now to pray, let's say, because I'm sick, I'm not going to be punished for this because I didn't pray. Yeah, what can I do? Hashem didn't give us the Torah to die by it. He gave us the Torah to live by it. Yes. So if there are things that we're not able to do, Hashem is saying, okay, don't do it. You're not going to kill yourself now to, when a person is in the middle of the desert and the only things that you have to do is it's a bug on the ground and that's the only thing that you need to eat for you to survive, you are obligated to eat that bug, even though it's not kosher. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Right now, it doesn't matter. Right now, what matters is your life. Yeah, so there are so many things like this that we can say. So the children of Israel knew that, okay, I'm not going to be punished. I'm not going to get karet because I didn't bring the korban. I didn't do it on purpose. I don't know, maybe someone died in the family. Maybe I couldn't do it, right? So they come to say, okay, we're not going to be punished, but we also want a reward. Why is so fair? Why is fair that everyone is going to get the reward for bringing the korban and we're not going to get it, which is such a big reward? So then Moshe says, okay, you know what? Yeah, it's not your fault. So you have a second chance. So that you can do it on 15, which is amazing. Think about it. Hashem gives us the possibility to do that. Yeah. Now, what are the laws of Pesach Sheni? And with this, we finish. One who was ritual impure at the time that the Pesach sacrifice was slaughtered, or one who was in a distant place, or one who was prevented by circumstances from offering the sacrifice, or one who failed to bring it unintentionally. Okay, he was quarantined for COVID. I don't know, something like that, yes. Or even if he failed to offer it intentionally, brings the Pesach sacrifice on the after moon of the 14th of Iyar. Ones who converted to Judaism before the 14th of Nisan and the 14th of Iyar, or a child who becomes an adult during this period, also offers the Pesach sacrifice on the 14th of Iyar. Think about it. Before this, you were not obligated to do it. After this, you're obligated to do it and you missed it. So no, now I don't. I have the opportunity to do it also, right? Okay. If many people were ritually impure at the time that the Pesach sacrifice was to be offered, if they are a minority of the nation, they bring their Pesach sacrifice on Pesach Sheni. However, if the majority of the nation was ritually impure at the time that the sacrifice was to be offered, or if the Kohanim or utensils were impure at that time, the sacrifice is brought on the 14th of Nisan anyway, those who are ritually impure and those who are ritually impure after the sacrifice together. If the number of people who are ritually impure is equal to that of the number who are ritually pure, the Pesach sacrifice is offered on the 14th of Nisan. So it also depends of how many people they were impure. If it was a few, then of course they did it on Iyar. If it was half of the nation, they did it on Pesach anyway. And you understand what I'm saying? Is like also depends of that. Of course, on the 14th of Iyar, it's not that you are not allowed to eat chametz. You are allowed to eat chametz. Yes, it's not that now you have to keep you don't have to make a new seder. Also for the people that only to bring the korban. You don't really have to make a new seder now and read the Haggadah and do all the things that we do on Pesach. Yes. What is the difference between the Pesach sacrifice offered on the 14th of Nisan and that offered on the 14th of Iyar? When the former is offered, Hametz is prohibited. It may not be seen or found in a Jew's possession. The first Pesach sacrifice may not be slaughtered together with Hametz, and none of the meat may be consumed outside of the Chavura, the group formed to offer a Pesach sacrifice and eat the meat together. The offering of the first Pesach sacrifice is accompanied by Alel and a special festival opening. If the majority of the people are ritually impure, the sacrifice brought on the 14th of this time may be offered in a state of ritual impurity. As regard the Pesach sacrifice offered in the 14th of Iyar, both Hametz and Matzah may be found in the Jew's possession. There is no requirement to recite Hallel while eating. The meat of the sacrifice may be eaten separately from the other members of the Chavura. The sacrifice is not accompanied by a festival offering, and it cannot be brought in a state of ritual impurity. The two sacrifices are similar in that they both are brought on Shabbat. They request the recital of Hallel during their preparation. They are to be roasted at one home. They are eaten with matzah and maror. No meat may be left over from either of them, and a person may not break any of the bones of the animal offered. It once happened that the majority of the people were ritual impure on the 14th of Nisan, and Pesach sacrifice was postponed until the 14th of Iyar. During the time of King Hiskiyahu, the Bet HaMikdash was purified from the defilement of the idols that has been placed there by King Achaz. The level of impurity caused by idolatry is the same as that caused by contact with a corpse. Hiskiyahu saw that there was not sufficient time to purify the majority of the people in time to bring the Pesach sacrifice. And the king and his officers and all those assembled in Jerusalem decided to observe Pesach in the second month, for they could not do so at that time in Nisan, for the Kohanim had not become sufficiently sanctified and the people has not gathered in Jerusalem. The sages did not agree with this decision, for if the majority of the people are ritually impure, the sacrifices is not delayed and is brought on the 14th of Nisan. Hiskiyahu later acknowledged that he was mistaken and prayed to God regarding this matter, asking for forgiveness. So we see that even very, very big tzaddikim and big rabbis sometimes can make a mistake. That's why we always have to listen to all the sides that are there and decide. Also, we also have a brain, and Hashem gave us a brain. And I'm going back to what Rav Yossi said. We should also think about things and not only do it blindly. Yes. That's it for today.